Hi friends, it's Jason and welcome to 2026. I just want to first say Happy New Year to everybody that follows along with me here, and I appreciate you being here, and I hope that we have another amazing reading year. I didn't quite reach my goal in 2025 of 70 books, which I set myself, but I did reach 63, which I was close, but there were some reading gaps in there and some lulls, and I didn't quite make it to where I wanted to be, but I still had an amazing reading year, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and I wanted to just give you an idea of my top 5 of 25 for me. Now, the first one was by John Gwynne, and it was the conclusion of the Bloodsworn saga. It was, of course, The Fury of the Gods. John Gwynne is an instant read for me now, and there's no way that I will not read a John Gwynne book when it comes out. And this series was absolutely fabulous. It had great covers and great artwork, and the story was just compelling, and it sucked you in, and as most of his stories do. And it was a really fabulous series, and I really enjoyed the conclusion of this series. It didn't leave me wanting in any way, and it made me quite happy with how he concluded the series. So that's why it made it into my top 5 of 25. The second book in my favorite 5 of 25 was a book that was an introductory story that was a collaboration between the daughter of famous martial artist Bruce Lee and one of my favorite authors, Fonda Lee, who gave us the Greenbone saga. And that book was called The Breath of the Dragon. It was a really cool story about a divided family that got split up by war and two conflicting ideologies from two sides of the same continent that was split down by these split ideologies. And the families growing up separately and being divided, and one parent being with one child and another parent being with another child on two sides of this continental divide. And it was a really intriguing story, and I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to the continuation of this story. I haven't heard anything about when the second book will come out, but I did enjoy it, and that's why it made it onto this list. The third book in this series is actually the first book in a series that sent me down a rabbit hole with a new sci-fi author that I discovered. In my previous video, I talked about this series. The book is called Warship, and it's the first book in the Black Fleet series. It ended up, there is 9 books in this series in 3 arcs of 3 trilogies. And this book started it all off for me, and I really enjoyed it. It's a really good sci-fi series. It gave me, like I said in that video, a little Battlestar Galactica vibes and things like that. You know, you have this troubled ship captain that is on this old archaic warship that is out in space, and society or humanity sees itself as the only thing in the universe until it's not. And once an alien race makes itself known and starts attacking humanity, then this troubled ship captain in this old warship has to figure out how to defend humanity. And it started off a really good series. I've ended up actually in 2025, thanks to that book being recommended to me on Kindle at the end of reading another series, I ended up reading those 9 books, and then I read another one of his series, which currently is 17 books long, and I'm going to do another video on that series individually. So I've now, because of that one recommendation, read 26 books from this author. They're usually 250, 350 pages, and I've just burned through them. He's got another series that's set in the same world as the 17-book series. It's 8 books, and I'm going to read that probably next, and just so I stay immersed in that same world, because I really enjoyed it. Joshua Dalzell is the name of the author, and the name of the book is called Worship. Check that series out if you like kind of episodic sci-fi that really engrosses you. It's really well thought out, and if that sounds like something that you'd like, check that series out. And that made it on to my top 5 of 25. Next up, of course, one of the biggest releases of 2025 was The Strength of the Few. And I made a video about this, and I struggled with this book at first, because the story changed so much from The Will of the Many to The Strength of the Few. And for the first, 7 to 10 chapters, I didn't have a bloody clue what was going on. So I was really confused by this book. But in the end, I really liked it. The change of perspective, the multiple points of view with the main character. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't read it yet, so I don't want to say too much about it. But it has to be on this list, because it was one of the most anticipated books of the year for me, and I did enjoy it. Did I enjoy it as much as The Will of the Many? Maybe not. But I'm still enjoying this series, and I'm really, really curious to see where James Islington takes that story with the next book. I think there's supposed to be 4 books in this series instead of 3. So we're halfway through this series, and I'm really intrigued to see where he goes with that. And number 5 was, again, a series, and, this was, I saw this all over BookTok, Bookstagram, BookTube for quite some time, and I never really dove into it. It sounded intriguing to me, but for some reason I just never got around to it. And in 2025, I managed to read this book, or this series, the first 3 books in the series. Apparently there's going to be 2 more, what I'm talking about is the Bound and the Broken series by Ryan Cahill. Fabulous series. I burned through these 3 books so quickly. I couldn't put them down. I didn't read anything else. They were very good. I really enjoyed this series. And I'm not going to talk too much about it again, because if you haven't read it, I don't want to spoil it. But it was definitely a series that I really, really enjoyed this year as part of my 5 of 25. And that's the 5. But I did want to give one honorable mention, and I've got it right here, by Christopher Paolini. I read this, Murtagh, part of the Aragon series. I can't get it out because it's buried in books right now. But part of the Aragon series. This is a standalone book outside of that series. And I did manage to get my hands on this gorgeous special edition of Murtagh. And I really enjoyed the story. This, I'm giving the honorable mention of the 5 of 25 because I really enjoyed this book. And if you haven't read this yet, because it is kind of outside of the Aragon story, I do recommend it. It took me a while. I didn't think I was going to read it because it wasn't part of the main story. Sometimes with main stories, when they have like novellas or outside stories, I tend not to read them because I'm so immersed in the main story. But this I really, really enjoyed, and I like his plight and with his dragon and their interaction with each other. And this was a cool story, and I hope that we get more stories from his character. So check that out. And that was my favorite 5 of 25. Did you have favorites of 25? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd be really curious to hear what you thought were your best reads of 2025 as we're going into 2026. And if you read any of these, what your thoughts were on them, or if they're on your TBR. And I will see you again next time.